Tarron with Twisted Mesquite Performance Horses. We are on a mission to create a world-class 2-year-old program that specializes in the rein cow horse. Today we're doing a review with Cinco. This is her 5th week in our program. This is her 2nd time in the snaffle. So yesterday, generally what I do when I put them in the snaffle the first time, I've already had them riding around for a few, 10, 14 rides, something like that. We generally work to go get their teeth done before we put the snaffle in their mouth, and then let them heal from that. Depending on what all we did with their teeth, let them heal from that. It's generally, somewhere around a week or so. So we continue to ride them in a hackamore through that process, and then put a snaffle in their mouth at that time, and then we've had good luck with that. These two horses, Cinco and Wiz, they came in and had their teeth done already, so we went ahead and took them right into the snaffle after that same time, 10, 14 rides, something like that. And so generally what I'll do is I just want to first teach them, remind them about flexing with the snaffle, to where, because it is a little different pressure. It's a pull from the side of their mouth rather than up underneath their jaw, and up on the other side of their jaw, to where it's kind of pushing into them. So it's a different pull, but we teach them. They generally get that figured out pretty quick. And then so yesterday was the first ride in a snaffle. First time putting a snaffle on them, and so I just reviewed everything that we were working on, just making sure that they'll give to that snaffle, and that we can pull them around, and then continued working on our yielding the hind end. So we'll go and review, the same with her, the same things we're working on with her, we were working on with Wiz. These are two different horses. They take it differently. This horse, she generally, I think, wants to be softer, and so she will give off of that pressure a lot better, seems like. Wiz wants to move out a lot more. She wants to, she'll get and move out a lot better than Cinco will. But then Cinco, when she does move out, she has a really nice carriage to her. She kind of travels with that head out there low and kind of tucked in. I mean, just how you'd want a show horse, where they kind of carry themselves pretty round, and she already naturally wants to do that. It speaks to having those horses that are bred to do the job that you're wanting them to do. It makes a big difference. So, like I said, this is the 2nd day in the snaffle, so they're still having to learn about that, kind of adapt to that different pressure. But from here on, we'll give them a little grace to figure it out. But we're pretty much just continuing on with everything we were working on, like we were in the hackamore. Just continue on the plan and just let them figure it out as we go. See, both of these horses, they really want to get along and want to do what we ask them to do. And so they will both anticipate what we're doing. And so we do kind of have to change it up so that they can do it correctly after we ask them. Get a chance to do it correctly after we ask them, and not start doing it incorrectly before we ask them. See, right now I'm just moving this horse forward, wanting her to move forward, and she's anticipating me pulling her around. She's kind of figuring out about that pressure in her mouth as well. She's very sensitive in her mouth, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And so it doesn't take much for her to want to give to that pressure. And so she's seeking she's looking for that when she brings her head around without me pulling on the reins. She's seeking that softness and that feel. She's wanting to get off of that pressure. With her, she has a really small or little short strided lope. I do kind of want her to pick up a little bit more speed so she can keep carrying herself, driving up underneath herself, and we can go somewhere. Pick up that speed a little bit when I do ask her to lope around. Where some of it is, she's looking for me to shut her down. She's watching for me to shut her down, which is good. So this side, she's moving out pretty free. She started wondering if I was gonna ask her to yield right there, to stop right there. She didn't quit. She was staying in that lope, and so I asked her to stop right there, asked her to yield. But it's just like I was talking about with Wiz. We want to, all of these transitions, help these horses get comfortable going up and down through their gears. Where when I'm asking them to trot off, they trot off. Then I can bring them back down. Then I ask them to lope off, they'll lope off, and they'll come back down. And some of it looks pretty kind of rough, but some of it is rough when you're teaching these horses. When you're teaching these horses something new, and they're having to figure out how to regulate their emotions, how to go up into that gate and then come back down. It takes time for all that to smooth out. And that's what we're working on. That's what we're working towards. But it's not always, it's not a finished product when we teach them this stuff. They've got to, we've got to give them permission to figure it out. For it to look ugly, so that they can figure that out. They can figure out what we're asking them to do and what we're wanting them to do. You know, so on her, I anticipate her doing this exercise a little better than Wiz, because she's already wants to kind of wrap around my leg. But so we're going to start doing the same thing we were doing with Wiz, which is I want her to just bend at this walk. So like with Wiz, this is a neutral position, so I want her just to move forward, to travel around in this circle. Now put my leg on her, pick up. I'm waiting for her to tip her nose towards me. See, she did. We'll walk around another circle and let her out of it. I do kind of want her to have a little bit more movement in her feet. Kind of walk around at a quicker pace. See, same thing. Waiting for her to give that nose like that, and we'll walk around. And let her out of it. See the difference between these two? Wiz is a little bit more of a worrier. She's a little bit more anxious type horse. And so when a horse is worried and anxious, they tend to have resistance in their body because they're tense. You know, they're tense, they're expecting something to happen, and so they're engaging all of those muscles in their body ready to move, ready to go somewhere. To where when you have a horse that isn't as concerned about their well-being, they just walk around pretty relaxed and they're pretty comfortable with everything. They seem to have not as much, like it's maybe easier to get them softer. So like with her, she wants to be soft. She's not concerned about us. See, like right there, I mean, she just bend right around and giving it that pressure. And with her, it's just her figuring out what we want her to do, and she's willing to do it. With Wiz, it's a little bit more of helping her be comfortable, helping her to learn how to relax, to manage those emotions. So a little bit of a different horse. They have some similar tendencies. See, we're going to work on the same exercises, but we may go about them just a little bit differently. Or, you know, stay with one exercise longer than with this other horse. You know, we can just use it as we need to, depending on that horse. So this is her review this week. I mean, we'll continue to work on these things, these exercises, to where, you know, we get them better and get her transitions and yielding around her transitions a lot better, and we'll get them better. But that's her review for this week, and we'll catch you up on the next one.